Good morning. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto, North York panel is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to the property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. We acknowledge the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee peoples, and is home to many First Nations, diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx and an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the City of Toronto Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch there. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone, and have the option of participating on video or audio only. All participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, you'll be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices when you are not speaking. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You'll only be visible during your 5-minute speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. Both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff, will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use the share screen or any other panelist controls. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect that instruction. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment for their application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by mail. Please ensure that you include your name, address, email address as well, because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeals by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision of the TLAB, or in some limited circumstances, the Ontario Land Tribunal, the OLT. However, provincial government has recently amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties, such as neighbors, to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and public bodies, those as defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out on the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will call the hearing procedures. I will call each item in order listed in the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are advised to advise the chair they would wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are coming close to 5 minutes, and it should appear up on the screen as well. Any presentation or other material you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing staff. Hearing staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Note the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposal at today's hearing. The committee may decide to defer an application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and all those entitled to notice are having the appropriate time to review the changes. Individuals either in support or opposed to the application, such as neighbors, will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they finish their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will be taken into committee for decision. We have no minutes to confirm at this point. Are there any declarations of interest for items in the morning time slot? Go ahead, Matty.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have a conflict with application number 3 on the AM agenda.
Okay, and your reason, could you state your
I
reason?
know the applicant. I know the applicant.
You know the applicant?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we come to number 3, you'll have to get up and go to the other back
Yes.
room, so you can't participate. Are there any deferral requests for the morning session?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no deferrals, and we'll do the minutes in the afternoon.
There are deferrals for the afternoon, but not the morning?
There are no deferrals in the AM, and we'll do the minutes in the afternoon.
Right. I've already said that with the minutes, that we will do minutes in the afternoon. Okay. Are there any files to be closed?
There are no files to be closed.
So, here is the script of the review, and we'll call the first item. By the way, it's not that I didn't shave. I'm doing Movember for the 13th year, so don't think I just didn't bother shaving. Okay, so let's start with item 1, which is 344 Hillhurst Boulevard. And the speaker we have is the agent, Franco Romano. This is an application to legalize an existing rear deck and requires some variances to do that. I guess it's just the one variance, the lot coverage variance. Yeah, just the one, the lot coverage variance. So as Mr. Romano is apparently joining remotely, can we connect him, please?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, Franco Romano, 321 Lakeshore. Happy to be here in front of the panel today.
Okay, so would you wish to go ahead with your presentation?
Yes, thank you kindly. If staff can bring up my presentation slides, it'd be terrific. So this is an application that involves a single variance. It's for lot coverage, and the lot coverage variance is triggered because the rear deck is larger than 5% of the lot area. So this is an item that under the zoning bylaw that not too many people are aware about, and certainly the owner is not aware about it. They were recladding the existing deck and then slightly enlarged it. You see that there's about a 1.5 foot extension that I'm showing in green towards the rear of the lot, and that. A small portion of that, if we're looking at the red boxed in area, that 0.56% of the deck triggers the lot coverage variance. So then the lot coverage of the house, which is zoning bylaw compliant, plus the entire deck equates to the 40.61% lot area variance. This is a fairly common variance for houses as well as porches within this area, and I've shown on the air photograph in the lower right recent lot coverage approvals, including properties next door and across the street and kitty corner to the rear that range from 36% to 47.7%. Every single one of those lot coverage approvals have also involved other built form variances, so building height, building length, setbacks, etc. In this instance, the application before the panel today has no other variances. The rear deck that we see in the photographs has privacy screen on both sides and broad support with neighbors. I believe yesterday I had submitted 7 letters of support, including the immediate neighbors on either side. So I submit that the variance request here is minor in nature and has no unacceptable adverse impacts. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Do we have any questions of Mr. Romano? We have no questions, and we can entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I will bring forward a motion to approve the application.
Do I have a seconder for Mr. Allison's? Seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor? Okay. So your application was unanimously passed.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
So now we go on to number 2, which is 28 Danby. Let's just get over to here. Okay. And we have one speaker, Murat Ozgur, and that's also remote. This particular application, we've got the public notice, survey, previous decision, transportation memo, letters of support.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Murat Özgür. I am the applicant for 28 Danby Avenue. My address is 231 Joyce C. Boulevard, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, so you've got 7 variances you're looking for here. You want to make a little presentation of
Yes,
what's going on here?
sure. Just to let you know, this file has been approved before on 28 April 2022. And at that time, the neighbor appealed and the owner did not wanted to represent himself. And he has been rejected from the TLAP. So we apply again with the same variances, same plan. And I have a supporting material which shows where the location of the house and as well as the explanations for the variances. If you can open that for me to represent.
Okay, panel, do you wish a presentation on this? What the applicant's looking for is variances to construct a new 2-story dwelling with a covered porch and a patio on rear platform.
Yes.
Through the
So,
through the chair,
David,
I don't think I need a presentation.
You don't need one? Mr. Allison?
Can we just clarify? So this application was approved. It was then appealed, and I did read the order from the Toronto Local Appeal Body, and now it's back at committee for the same variances? Is that safe to say?
yes, sir.
May I ask too, I noticed that we haven't heard from the neighbor that appealed to the applicant. Has there been any discussion with that neighbor?
With the neighbor, yes, the owner already spoke with them at that time, but somehow at the appeal time with the TLAP, they couldn't communicate enough. But right now, there's no problem.
Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, there's no letters on file from, that I can see. There's letters of support, but not from the neighbor. Is that the neighbor? The letter of support we have is from 31 Danby, which is across the road, I guess. Is that the neighbor we're talking about?
Yeah.
So he now has a letter of support? He's now supporting the application? Is that correct?
This is the 31. No, the 31 is not that neighbor. It's the neighbor. I'll tell you the number. It is 32. 32 Danby Avenue. Neighbor was the one who appealed.
Okay, so he's not submitted another letter at this point.
Nothing. No.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Good question. Do we have any other questions?
Question. I have a question, Mr. Chair. from the applicant. I see there is a transportation memo on the file. I wonder if the applicant noticed that and addressed those 3 comments.
Yes, it's regarding the driveway. The driveway on our side has a more, it's wider, and it's here we are asking it on the second variances. We are asking 4.87 meters wide, but on the city portion, it gets to 3 meters. So it's not wide like that, and then transportation has no problem with that.
Yeah, we do have a memo from transportation.
Yes, and they are asking us to write some notes on the site plan, but regarding the width, they have no problem.
So the transportation memo has to do with the width of the driveway?
Because the existing driveway is wider, so right now we are having a wide driveway in the private side, but on the city side we are making it less wide, and so the existing driveway some of the parts of the existing driveway will be removed, and it's going to be with topsoil and grass will be laid down over there.
Okay, so in the
That's the note that they.
in the transportation report, there's 3 conditions they like attached,
Yes, sir.
which if we approve this, we would attach those conditions from transportation.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions? Not, then we can entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'd like to motion to approve, subject to the conditions of, recommended conditions of transportation.
And do I have a seconder for that motion? It's almost a tie, but we'll go with Ms. Martin. She was first. All those in favor? Okay, so it's unanimously approved, subject to the transportation conditions.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that would now take us to number 3, which is 58 Hawkesbury. Which has got it's a proposal to build a new 2-story dwelling, basement walk-up and rear platform. Requires 4 variances, and I believe there's some, there is a staff report on this that came in late. Have you seen the staff report, sir?
Mr. Chair, me.
Staff report is talking about, suggests that the changes were made to the application, modifying variance 1 and variance 2. Have you made those changes? I'm sorry, I've got the page stuck here. Sorry about that. The late staff report's the next one. Okay, so are you making any, you've seen the late staff report?
Mr. Chair, before you start the hearing, I need to sit out of this application because of potential.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I need to sit out from this application because of the conflict.
A conflict? Okay. Try and look at the speaker list so we get the conflict out before. Okay, so there is, however, as I said, a late staff report suggesting 2 conditions on modifying variances 1 and 2. Are you aware of that?
Mr. Chair. Good morning. My name is Ali Malik Sada. I don't know if you are asking me that question.
Well, I'm asking the applicant the
Yes.
question. First thing I asked was
My
if you'd
name-
seen the staff report.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I've seen the staff report. I was able to have a conversation with the staff, and then we made some changes to the application in order to satisfy the planning for this proposal.
So the
And then
change,
the revised drawing is already submitted to the application and then is uploaded. So if staff can bring the latest drawing revised by November 1st, that was uploaded. Thank you so much. So I can explain what was the changes.
I think we should get a presentation as to where the two modifications are for variances 1 and variance 2.
No problem. This is a,
Mr. Chair, before he starts, he needs to read the changes that he's making for the record by referencing the variance number
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what
the
I'm
change, please.
Variances 1 and 2 are the changes.
there is actually 3 changes, number 1, 2, and then 3. With this revision, in this revision, item number 1, the proposed rear deck projection is changed from 7.63 meter to 3.66 meter.
Okay, that's what the staff
And
requested.
yes, and number 2, the proposed building length is changed from 21.84 meter to 20.67 meter.
Right?
And this change also is impacting number 3, which is the building depth. Proposed building depth is changed from 23.16 to 21.89 meter.
Okay.
That's all the changes.
Okay, so you've actually added one change that was not in the staff report?
Yes, because they didn't catch the building depth. When we change the building length, is automatically impacting building the depth as well. So I just want to correct number 3 as well.
Okay, thank you. Did you still want a presentation at this point?
I don't think I need a presentation.
Okay, well then, if we, I believe there's also,
Through you, Mr. Chair, there is someone else registered to speak against this item.
okay, go ahead. Well, you want to hear why the changes?
I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure the drawings that I'm looking at reflect the most recent changes. If we can just confirm that because of the change to the building depth there, and as well as the first variance for the platform.
Yes, all the changes, as noted, was identified in the revised drawing that uploaded to the site by November 1st. So all the changes is there, and then they are all bubbled in the site plan, as you see.
Okay, so if we approve it, we would make it approved, subject to the changes read into the record on the floor. But we do have an indication that there's a neighbor, Mr. Masood Sadri, who wishes to speak. It's by audio.
Through you, Mr. Chair, they actually don't wish to speak to this item.
So they had registered to speak.
We tried to get a hold of them. We were not able to.
Okay. Then we can entertain a motion on this one.
I would like to make a, like, I guess, I would like to make a comment before, if that's okay. I'd like to make a comment.
It's not omnidirectional.
Sorry, I'd like to make a comment before. I did have when I was looking at the notice originally, I did have concerns with the projection of the deck. So I'm really glad that you've made that revision. I did have concerns that the projection of the deck and privacy impacts on the adjacent property just would have potentially caused an impact. So I'm really pleased that that revision was made. And I would like to make a motion to approve the variance application as modified.
And I believe there's forestry on this one as well. So there is,
I would,
Amend.
yeah, sorry, I would like to amend to also include the conditions of forestry.
let me just pull up the forestry provision. So here's the forestry memo.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, we've also got a ravine report. Would you like to include that as well? The condition?
Which condition?
I believe number 3 noted in the ravine
Right.
from urban forestry. There's a separate report in addition to the forestry memo from conservation. I believe there's well, conservation, actually, no, conservation, let me take that back.
There's TRCA, the ravine, and the forestry.
Yes, ravine didn't have any requested conditions, but I do see in forestry.
Sorry, through the chair. So the TRCA is seeking a permit subject to the Conservation Authorities Act, and I think that condition needs to be included as well.
Sorry, let me correct myself. Thank you. There are conditions noted in Appendix A there on the last page.
So the easiest thing is to make it subject to forestry review and TRCA.
Correct. Yes, I would like to add those conditions.
Okay, so you're moving to
Moving
the
to,
application, subject to the changes made on the floor and subject to conditions in forestry, ravine, and TRCA. Is that
correct.
Okay, so do I have a seconder for that motion? Ms. Martin, all those in favor? Okay, so it's unanimously passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then good to see you back, Mr. Ross.
Thank you. So that takes us to item 4, which is on Chudley, 33 Chudley. And let me just pull this one up here. So here's the two-story addition to the rear of the existing building in conjunction with other interior and exterior alterations, and it requires 2 variances, one being a parking space, one an FSI. So I've got listed here that there are 2 speakers, one by audio and one in person. So Mr. Rubinoff is by audio. And he is
Good
the
morning,
agent.
it's Glenn Rubinoff here.
Sorry?
Good morning, it's Glenn Rubinoff here.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Yes, this is an application for a rear 2-story addition plus interior alterations. The 2 variances before you are, one is related to floor space index and one is related to the parking space being relocated to the front yard, which is required to be in the rear yard. That's the variance. We actually have a report from transportation that the only condition they have is that the vehicle do not park any vehicles on the walkway leading to the covered wood porch. So transportation's okay with this request. City planning has not written a report on this file. The other variance for floor space index is based on the density requirement is only at 0.35 times the area of the lot. We have actually provided in our supporting documents a map in the area which shows the comparable redevelopment properties. I believe it's you find the map there. I think it's down. Yeah, there it is. So we are the property in the orange or yellow, depending on what you call orange and yellow. As you can see, there's several homes in the area which have been approved with higher densities than what we are proposing, and it is in addition to the property. There are no other variances related to the footprint in terms of length or side yard. It's just simply density and parking in the front of the property. If you could go to the site plan briefly, because I know there was some concern from the neighbor, and I just want to illustrate. If you can zoom into the front, yeah, at the top there. So the parking pad there, there's some confusion over that bubbly area. That's just showing where the location of the parking pad is. But the parking pad is entirely on the private property. It's not on city property, and it's not on the neighbor's property. It's just strictly at the corner of the property, which is where the existing curb cut is. So there's no, it's just a matter of the parking space having been relocated to the front yard from the requirements where you have to squeeze between houses to park in the back. So this is what, it's just more of a convenience factor. That's all I have to say.
What is the existing FSI?
The existing FSI,
I'm sure it's probably more than the 0.35, so just want to see how close it is to the 0.6.
oh yeah, no, for sure. The existing is 43%, and the rear addition is the additional 18.6%. So,
Okay.
Indeed, yeah. Thank you.
So do we have any other questions of Mr. Rubinoff before we go on? There's two neighbors who have.
I have a
You have a question? You're going to talk a little bit louder into your.
Oh, sorry, it's
or
my mic
bring
is
it
off.
closer to your mouth.
I have a question. So in terms of parking at the front yard, is it would the zoning bylaw have allowed for parking within a garage in the front yard, or is that also related to not having a garage?
Yeah, well, it's in addition to an existing home which doesn't have a garage. So if there was a new home built here with a garage, then that would be allowed because it would be the access to the parking space within the house. But the requirement in the bylaw is that the parking space needs to be located behind the main front wall of the house.
Okay.
And that leaves any addition to the rear yard, which is not feasible for parking.
So my understanding is that if there was a garage for this dwelling in the
Yes.
front, that driveway, the pavement would still be there, and correct?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
I also have a question.
Further
from
questions? Are we ready for motion?
No, we have.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, the other two speak. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Mr. Chair, I have a question from the.
Paul Rutledge and Eleanor Rutledge are here in person, is what it shows here.
I believe the other member of the committee would like to ask a question.
Mr. Chair, I have another question from the applicant. I wonder, I'm looking at the survey. So what is the existing condition? Is this paved, hardscaped? Where you're proposing?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We haven't changed that. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, through the chair.
Hello,
Oh,
may I ask a question?
one more.
One more question? Go ahead.
Sorry, I have one more question for the applicant. There is an easement on the subject lands. Would parking be located on the easement?
No, it does not. The easement is further back. It's just a small easement at where the home on the side of the home is located. It has nothing to do with parking access.
Okay.
It's strictly access for the neighbor. Yeah.
So when I'm looking at the survey plan, the easement seems to cut off like halfway through where the covered.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you know
Yeah,
what?
it starts. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry.
It starts 7.7. It starts at 7.7 meters back from the front property line. That's where the easement starts.
Okay.
So it doesn't impact the parking space.
And just one other question about that easement. Do you know what that easement is for?
I would assume that it's because number 31 is very close to the property line, and they may have a door or some means on the side of the house, perhaps just to be able to walk alongside. But it's for the benefit of 31. But it's nothing related to driving a car or anything of that nature.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. So there's no more questions of the applicant. We have Paul Rutledge and Eleanor Rutledge who have registered to speak in person. Are they here?
I am.
Okay.
I just have a
We
question.
need to get you to state your name and.
My name is Paul Rutledge. I'm the neighbor, next door neighbor. I'm at 31 Chudley. I just have a question. I don't know if Mr. Rubinoff is still there, but I think he said that there was no garage at 33. There is a garage at the back of the house. I'm not sure if was what he said or not. There is an existing garage at the back of 33. I thought he said there was no garage. Am I correct?
Okay, does that impact you, whether there is or isn't?
No. Well, it might impact the decision on front parking. Shall I do my present? Can I start my presentation?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Timer. Restarted, please.
Yeah. In addition to the, good morning, by the way. I'm going to actually go through, I entered a letter of objection, written letter of objection. I'm just going to go through the points in that and how they affect us in our dwelling. I have another infringement, I guess, or in addition to the variances requested, that I thought that there was a setback regulation, and the confusion I'm seeing is on the 10.5.471. It refers to lot lines, side lot lines. I have an existing blueprint from the 1920s, that shows the lot line sort of halfway through the house in 33. So that the reference to lot line, I'm not sure, is sort of irrelevant in that case. So I'm not sure where the setback line actually should be from, whether it should be from the dwelling or the deed line, or whether it should be what's called the setback line, which is more or less congruent with the existing sidewall. If it's congruent with the existing sidewall, then there is no setback from that line on the proposed blueprint. So now this impacts us in not directly, but just it sets a precedent if you're allowed to build that close to the wall or along that congruent line, because it sets a precedent, and we're having new neighbors coming in on the other side of us, and if they decide to do an extension, a similar extension in size and close to that, well, I'll be having tunnel vision basically in my backyard. So if you refer to 10.5.4.71, there is a minimum side yard setback of, I believe, half of the agreed setback minimum distance, which the blueprint doesn't show. It has it right up to the house line. So that's my concern on whether there is in fact another variance. In addition, the non-compliance of the square footage being very large, it obviously decreases substantially the sunlight in our backyard. And my wife, just being recently retired, has taken up gardening in a big way, so we won't have much of that going on. In addition, I believe with the, there is, in the planning, urban planning, there's a regulation for such a large dwelling that there be no side windows, which the blueprint that I've seen shows side windows on both sides. So I don't think they should be allowed. That they decrease our privacy. And the removal of the garage, which I've mentioned, the garage, also reduces our privacy, which we've established between the houses over 35 years. And there's no diagram for a fence going in there for privacy. So now we'll get on to the front. Oh, I wanted to mention that if the two dwellings that have had extensions on to the east of us, they do have setbacks from the sidewall line of something. Anyway, they've observed the setback rule. I wanted to get back to that. Go on to the front yard parking. That there's no front yard parking. The fact that the approved, I'm basically considering the approved parking location of the parking space, in that coming right up to the edge or near the edge of the deed line means that anybody, should they wish to or need to park right to that edge, they would have to exit that side of the car, the east side, onto our property, which doesn't seem quite right to me. In addition, if I wanted to build a fence or have a retaining wall there of some nature, then the parking space would not be in compliance with the regulations, and it would be closer than 0.3 meters to the wall. So I think the location is not quite correct. My third point on the parking space is that your own Department of Urban Forestry,
To wrap up. Please, I'm looking-
Urban Forestry has not approved it, and as it exists because of the tree canopy. Okay, thank you.
Now, was Eleanor Rutledge going to speak as well or not?
No, I won't.
Okay. So, Mr. Rubinoff, it's your opportunity to rebut the points made by Mr. Rutledge.
Sure, thank you. Just to clarify, we did a proper zoning review with the city, submitted all of our plans for review, and there was no side yard setback variance identified. The side yard setbacks are taken to the building, to the property line, and we are compliant effectively on that side. With regards to density, as I said, the variance is because the existing zoning of the 35% is quite restrictive. It's more of I would call it a planning control bylaw to kind of limit, to see what kind of development's going in there. But the existing home doesn't comply as it is. We do comply with length. We do comply with side yards. And planning did not have any concerns with regards to this. And as I mentioned from my earlier submissions with the map that I provided, there are several homes on the street and in the area that exceed the density that we're proposing. So I don't feel that we're pushing any limits here in terms of in terms of impact. I believe the impact is minimal. As far as the parking space parking space bylaw requires an 8'6", 2.6 meters wide space by 5.6 meters, which is what we're providing, which is adequate for opening and closing car doors and getting in and out. It's really not meant to be a problem. Certainly, there's some room to shift it over, but that's not really a variance. That's more just something to do on site with the approval of the building permit and with the transportation. And as I said earlier, transportation had no concern with regards to the parking location. They just simply said that it not expand into the walkway leading up to the porch. So I feel that the two variances we have before you are minor in nature and that they meet the four tests of the Planning Act. Thank you.
Do we have any further questions of Mr. Rubinoff following his rebuttal?
He did not address the side window issue?
Mr. Chair,
Okay, we're not going to go back and forth. That's not our procedure, but does the panel have any question about the side window issue? It's not a variance. So, no variance identified with it.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair?
Yes?
Can I just point out, just for the panel members' benefit, in your package, there are comments from forestry and transportation that don't appear to show up on your bookmark. So I just wanted to flag that for you. If you would like, we can certainly put it up on the screen. But because it doesn't show up on your bookmark, I want to make sure that you're aware that there are forestry and transportation comments.
Okay, so the tree inventory and the tree decision? Any comments from the panel concerning those?
I have a question about potential impacts to tree number 4. Can I get a little bit more information from the applicant with respect to that tree on the noted on the new site plan?
So thank you. So that's in the back area there. The existing, it's an existing paved area back there. There's really no work planned around tree number 4. It's just an existing condition. And of course, there will be tree protection provided around tree number 4 during the construction. But the construction of the addition is outside the tree protection zone.
Okay.
I have a question regarding the new storage shed that's shown on one of the plans. Did that have any variances, or is there more information on that, the new storage shed going in?
No, it did not have any. It did not have any variances related to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions from the panel? Okay, so can we have a motion, also taking into account points Mr. Lamb made about the tree? Okay, go ahead.
I can make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the application with the condition that the urban forestry and transportation conditions are met by the applicant.
Okay, so do we have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second it. And if I may, I just wanted to make some comments to address some of the concerns that were brought up.
Okay.
So I would consider, we have to deal specifically with the variances that are before us. We're dealing with 2 variances here. We try to be very sensitive, especially when neighbors, have concerns about light and privacy, just to ensure that the variances that we are granting are not, will there be some impact? Yes, but I think that, the question here is whether or not the impact really surpasses a threshold of being, materially impactful. And I think in this case, given the fact that we're dealing with 2 variances, the applicants, I'm also looking at things, not necessarily, when we're looking at FSI, and I'm not necessarily just looking at that the variances that it triggers, but the variances also that it doesn't trigger. I mean, the building depth is I think reasonable in this case, but we're not. It's my comment is with respect to FSI, I think the way that it's employed across the site here is reasonable, and I don't see any issue with respect to the parking space, given that it does again meet the requirements of the dimensions of the space. So, that takes into account things like exiting the vehicle as well. Sorry for the long commentary. But I just wanted to address that.
Always good to give reasons.
And I will second the motion to approve, subject to the two conditions. Subject to the conditions from transportation and forestry.
Okay. So the application is approved. We need to vote on it, sorry? Okay, so it is unanimous, and approval is subject to transportation and forestry. So that takes us.
Thank you very much.
That takes us to 85 Alamosa. Which the applicant for 85 is Matthew Fung. Let me just bring this up.
Good morning.
So I need you to give your name and address before we start.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and esteemed council members. My name is Matthew Fung, 68 Marichette Way. I'm the acting representative of the homeowner at 85 Alamosa Drive.
Okay.
Is it possible to pull out the presentation that I attached?
Yeah, I'd ask staff to do that.
So while he's pulling it up, both the homeowner and I have reviewed the report from planning and the letters of opposition from the neighbors and agreed to continue with this presentation. The following presentation is for clarity and understanding with the notice that was issued, and to provide a clarity and understanding concerning the issue notice, emphasizing compliance with Toronto zoning bylaw 569-2013, rather than merely presenting assumptions or opinions. What you see here is the existing house, existing bungalow, which is located south of Alamosa Drive. It currently, the ravine in the back, it currently fronts the ravine in the back, and notably, Alamosa Drive lacks sidewalks on both sides of the street. If you go to the next slide, please. We are proposing to construct a 2-story single-family dwelling, and I just also want to note that there is no building coverage, no building length, and no building depth to this application. Next slide, please. Next slide. We're proposing a driveway with 2 separate entrance points. There's actually 6 other houses that have 2 entrance points along the street. One of them I missed is 83 Alamosa Drive, which is directly adjacent to the west of 85 Alamosa. Next slide, please. Go back one, please. Oh, this is it. Okay, sorry. So this item number 2 talks about the rear platform, and I want to note that the measurement of 4.88 is actually taken from the main wall of the living room, whereas if you were to take the dimension from the main wall of the round bay window, you're only at 0.52 meters. So that's what realistically what we're asking for is the 0.52 meters projection. Next slide, please. Now, this item was a little bit contentious with city planning, where they talked about the front landscaping area. And we can compromise if we were to take the secondary driveway and we were to make it a permeable driveway, we would actually change the percentage of 48.6% front landscape, and it would alter to 72.6% if we were to change it to a permeable driveway. Next slide, please. This item number 4 is in regards to the roof projection. I had to get clarification from the zoning examiner why she got such a large number, and she based it off of the actual the allowable side yard setback in relation to the roof overhang, which is why it's 1.64. But as per the drawing, the overhang is actually only 0.45 meters, and this also correlates with item number 8, which will pass. Next slide, please. So this is the more contentious variance with both the neighbors and the planning department, and I just want to be clear on this. The image you see in front of you is actually taken from the City of Zoning Bylaw 569-2013 interactive map, and it is the height variance allowable. So if I'm going to explain this more clearly, the houses south of Alamosa Drive, we are allowed a 3-story, 11.5 meter high dwelling. The neighbors to the north of Alamosa Drive are allowed a 2-story, 10 meter high building. The only reason why we are subject to the 9.5 meter variance is because of exception RD 70, where it discusses the flat roof area. If the flat roof is over 50%, then it's 9.5. If you go to the next slide, please, because I'm running out of time, real quick. I did a study where the flat roof, so on the left is the current application. If I were to change the slope of the main roof to a slope of 12 over 11.5, the flat roof reduces to 48.9%, which nullifies the maximum height variance altogether, because I am allowed 11.5 meters. Next slide, please.
So I'm going to ask you to wrap up.
And this, yep, and this is regards to the main walls to the side. This is again relevant to the height of the building. Next slide, 7. Again, front yard relates to number 3. Next slide, please. And this is a roof projection which correlates to number 4. Next slide. And the last 2 slides are actually the east and the west. I know the east setback is more contentious with the neighbors at 87, and we would compromise if we could ask for maybe a setback of 1.54 meters, which is in compliance to House 78 Alamosa Drive, which was approved back in May 2021. And then number 10 is the west side variance, which has really no contention because the pinch point, the 1.2 meter setback is actually the pinch point at the garage corner because the site is tapered. And that's pretty much it of my presentation. I do want to add that we do have the TRCA permit already, and we believe that these the variances are quite minor in nature and compromise with the bylaw, and it also complements and enhances the neighborhood and its values of the neighborhood. So, thank you.
Okay, so you, sir, have made several actually hypothetical, if I did this, if I did this.
Yeah.
Are you making any changes to this application as we see it before us?
If I may, I can if there is the continued opposition, because there are variances that if we were to revise the drawing, it actually would get eliminated. But I just want to be clear why the numbers were so off on the notice.
I repeat my question. Are you making any changes? Other than you've talked about some hypothetical changes, or are we dealing with what's in front of us and you're not making any changes?
I don't really want to make any changes at this time.
Okay. Thank you. So let's. I'm assuming, by the way, you've seen the letter from Councillor Carroll.
No, I have not.
She indicates that she's got concerns about the circular driveway. And obviously, the two of those have to do with the variances on landscaping. Number 7, which is the front yard soft landscaping.
Yep.
And then variance 3, which you indicated if you changed would have, but you're not changing. So we can only deal with what's in front of us. So, do we have any questions of the applicant before we go to the neighbors?
Yes, I have some questions. So you mentioned 83. Could we, like, is there a way we could see that? Is that something that we could see, 83, your next door neighbor? I understand, because you, so I don't, okay, so I have concern, like it's, if we're mentioning that 83 would be a comparable, I would like to see that. In terms of height, you mentioned that there was a precedence for that, for 11.5 meters. Where in the zoning bylaw would 11.5 meters be permitted?
So it's actually on the interactive map. So when I do a zoning analysis, I use the interactive map because that's what you base this off of. So it says it literally on the interactive map that you can find online. And it says the 11.5 meters for a height.
Okay.
Mr.
So it's
Chair,
not a precedence. It's actually, it's the bylaw.
Mr. Chair, through you, the variance before you will tell you what the limit is versus the map. That is the more accurate number.
Okay. So I guess those were my two questions. Like I would like to see 83 Alamo if we're going to be looking at that comparable. And yeah, so I guess we would be making a decision based on my understanding is based on the existing zoning. So those were my two questions.
Well, the decision will be based on what's in front of us because the applicant has indicated doesn't intend to make any changes. Okay, do we have any further questions? Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
Mr. Chair, I have a question from the applicant, if he can clarify that. First is the existing condition is just one driveway and curb cut, correct?
Yes.
And what you're proposing in your presentation is to remove the second curb cut and extension of the driveway, or just change it to a permeable pavers?
It would be extension with a permeable pavers.
So the extension stays. There will be 2 curb cuts still.
There'll be 2 curb cuts. Yes, in total. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if we have no further questions, then we should listen to the neighbors, and we've got one who's by audio, Tai Rumi, and then we've got 2 that are in person. We usually take the in-person ones first. So that's Mr. and Mrs. Turian, and as in person, and Mr. Hui. So we get one of them to start first. It's in person. Get you to state your name and address.
Mr. Chairman and members, what my concern is with the...
We need you to identify yourself by name and address.
My name is Hagop Turian, 88 Alamosa Drive, and my wife, Maria Turian.
Okay.
So we do have a couple of questions about this.
Yeah, I know.
We're not against it, but when I look at the proposal, everything to me seems to be it's not by law. It's a violation. It's like by law is where is it? It's like let's go to number 4 chapter. It's like roof.
If I could just interrupt for 1 second,
Yeah,
just want to make the 2 of
proposed
you
project.
aware that the
Yes.
5 minutes is a total 5 minutes
Oh,
for both of you, not
okay.
5 minutes each.
So everything is way up, and we would like to modify this application, and everything is above the required law.
Yeah.
So if we can go by the zoning laws, and we'll be fine.
There are several concerns, Mr. Chairman. And
Mr. Chair, we need you to identify yourself with your address as well.
Hagop Turian, yeah. 88 Alamosa.
You're at 88 Alamosa, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. There are several concerns with this application. Violation of bylaws itself, it's not one, it's so many violations. The second is precedence. Every time there is a precedence, then there will be further and further precedence. Eventually, it's going to be a chaos. Every person is going to, based on their application on the previous precedence. For instance, just one application, water and sewer connection. This will cause, it will disrupt, it will change the integrity of the road the condition. There has been several projects before, and the roads on Alamosa Road now is bumpy because of those. So that's just one of them. The second is the owner of this property, is he residing on this property or not? Having two entrances is a concern because there might be a commercialized property, and we don't want that to have this on Alamosa. We don't want Airbnbs on Alamosa.
And in fact, sorry, she doesn't live there. This house has been empty for a couple of years. So.
Now,
with respect, that has nothing to do with the variance.
Yes, yeah, I know, but we do have concerns.
And
we would like to face those concerns and do something about it. We want you to hear us. It's like other neighbors didn't come because they said nothing will be done.
They are skeptic that the committee will favor to the applicant rather than to, listen to the neighbors. That's the impression we got. But we came because we trust that you will do something about it. You will take action and stop the nonsense of this mega houses, which will change.
On a quiet street.
Yeah, which will change the nature of what we had on our street. Yeah, so. I understand it's...
we want to develop, but there should be...
Development with reason rather than chaotic development. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Okay, do we have any questions of the neighbors before we hear from the next objector?
Good.
No questions? Okay. When we go back to the applicant, he'll have an opportunity to rebut points you've made. So the next speaker is, do we have, in person, we have Leon Hui. In person, is here. No?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have Leon Hui online.
He's online?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, so we need you to state your name and address, please.
My name is Leon Hui, and I'm representing 83 Alamosa Drive.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I am agree with the presentation just now of the neighbor number, I guess, 88 Alamosa, that the development is excessive. We oppose primarily on the height of the building, which is by 2 meters from the 9.5 meters maximum before. And I do not think that it is minor in nature, it is serious, increase in the height, especially with the mansard roof that they designed, and it make it even more massive. And the setback reduction also casting huge shadow on my property, 83 Alamosa. I don't know whether the owner have done a shadow study. 11.5 meters over 1.22 meter setback. That's a huge shadow will be cast on our property. And also the deck at the back, that's also a deck that is not compliant as well. That what they call the cover deck. So do we have any elevations on what do they mean by cover? We don't know, and it probably, this cover deck might be enclosed in the future. Without any permit, okay? And that will be an invasive of our backyard, which is just to the west of it. And this deck will be overlooking our backyard, and it becoming visually very invasive. Okay, that's all I have to mention is I'm more opposed to the elevation on the west side of the building and the height of the building are casting the shadow over the property, our property.
Do we have any questions, Mr. Hui?
No. In general, I'm not opposing to the development, but I think this development is way over excessive. Monster house.
Okay, if there's no other question, Mr. Hui, is there anyone else going to speak to this before we listen to the rebuttal from the applicant?
Are there additional people in opposition to speak?
Well, there's a Beverly Persaud listed here who hasn't spoken. And Mr. Mee, they said they tried to raise him and couldn't connect. So is there anyone else, either in person?
Through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chiarumi is online
Okay,
and unmuted. You can talk.
then let's listen to Mr. Rumi, who's at 86.
Hi, good morning.
Street.
Sorry, good morning. I'm the owner of 86 Alamosa. It's their neighbors. I already write an objection letter and send it to the chair. And I want to know, their house is higher, fully 2 meters high. It's over requirement by 21%. And her left plus right two side is a totally exceed 2 full meters, that over the requirement 50%. And their front yard and soft landscape, they almost covered all by their driveway. So it includes 2 meters. It not belongs to their property, belongs to that municipal energy that belongs to cities, energy land. So they almost covered all the green part to build their driveway, to make 2 meters higher, 2 meters wide, and the big window to window to windows, window to the backyard, and put that we don't have a walkway for for that passengers, pedestrian. So we are in our community, we are talking about might be in the future we will build that walkway, but they all built to change that softer land to be a driveway. So I think, and this place is built in the most north of our community, and the built in the first row of that down valley and the main road. So that is almost covered our sunlight, our well, and always put our passengers to the to the main street. And I agree with our neighbors. We built a house for living, for home, but we couldn't build a house for selling, for product, for a high price, right? We need to live here, not just for sale. So that's what I want to say. I really think they need to just follow the requirement, the city's requirement. Don't build the oversize. Don't put every walkway, don't put everyone into the main street. That's very dangerous. That's what I say. Thank you.
Do you have any questions? The neighbor? No? Okay, so is there anybody else who's going to, before we get the rebuttal, who's going to speak? There was a Beverly Purcell listed.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Beverly Pursuit is unmuted and online. I think you can talk.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Ramesh Prasad. I'm at 82 Alamosa Drive.
Sorry, the address is what number? What number?
82 Alamosa
82,
Drive.
okay.
Yeah, and I will speak on behalf of Beverly, who is also at another meeting with her workplace. She is working from home. What I would like to say was I agree with the three neighbors who spoke earlier. I'm not here to stop development of the neighborhood, but we have to sort of take everyone else's concerns into and see what best we can do. All I want to say, just 2 houses away on the opposite side, which I think is the south side, I'm not too sure. There is a building going up there. I don't even know what height it is. If it's in compliance with the height of that building, I'm fine with it. The building that I'm referring to, I'm 82, number 78. Number 78, Alamosa, is being developed right now. It has been approved. Construction is ongoing. Should be finished sometime towards the end of next year. If this new building is no higher than number 78, that's fine by me. Sunlight being blocked and all of that, there is nothing we can do about that. But I would ask if the committee can check it out to see if it's exactly the same height or very close to the same height that they have approved for number 78, then I'll be fine with it. As for the 2 driveways, the 2 exits to 1 driveway, the house next to it has a dual driveway. We can only compare like with like, and if that's what they're gonna get, I'm fine with that. The green grassy area and the soft frontage, they can. I don't know if there's a minimum frontage that must be grass. Well, they should maintain the grass, the soft frontage. As to the rear of the building, where they may be able to enclose the deck later on, I would expect them to have planning permission if they will ever do that or whatever. So whilst I have no objections to development in this neighborhood, I would like them to keep things fairly uniform. So I am comparing it to number 78, which I repeat, has already been approved. That's my take on behalf of Beverly Prasad.
Okay, so do we have any?
So thank you very much.
Any questions with the neighbor? If not, then we can go to, if there's nobody else going to speak to it, we can listen to the rebuttal from the applicant, Mr. Fung.
Thank you.
Can I just make a clarification about what the gentleman said?
No, we can't go back and forth like that. He's had his 5 minutes. You and your husband have your 5 minutes.
Just one sentence, okay? The house he is talking about is on this side. It's
Okay,
not
we
on-
can only deal with the house that's in front of us.
That's okay. That's fine. Thank you.
So, time for the rebuttal from Mr. Fung.
Thank you to all the neighbors. To us, we are still compliant with the bylaw. I know the contention was the height. Our flat roof is only 53%, which is only 3% more than the allowable. So that's why if we reduce the 3%, the height is eliminated altogether. We are
But you're
allowed
talking about
11.5.
hypotheticals here. We can deal with what's in front.
Yeah, no
If you
problem.
wanted
Sorry.
to change.
Okay, so okay, no problem. So in regards to Mr. Turian, I guess it was all assumptions where they're saying, oh, it's an Airbnb house. But I just want to say that as of May 10th, 2023, the bylaw has changed to allow for duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes in an RD zone, which would mean you would have no control if it was a rental building anyways. Okay.
Nothing to do with the variances in front of us.
No, I just want because he brought up that assumption that it was an Airbnb, right? So I can only respect what he said by that. 83%, 83 Alamosa to the neighbor. The deck. I promise you, the deck will not be enclosed. If it is enclosed, then please by all means go to the bylaw officer and tell them they enclose the deck. Now you're dealing with coverage. Now you're dealing with rear lot. Building length, building depth. We don't want to enclose it. 100% we won't. And it's just a covered porch, just for eating outside from the elements. What else am I missing? Miss Teru at 80. What number is she at? 85 Alamosa.
I believe it's 86.
The walk with the pedestrian.
I believe she's 86.
85 Alamosa was across the street. 86? No, sorry, 86 Alamosa. Sorry, yes. So she's located across the street. I'm not sure about this walkway and why she wants to create a public walkway through our property. To the west of 83 Alamosa is actually a city-owned piece of land that's all grass, and that is actually there for water runoff from the street. And at the same time, I don't urge her to kind of take a walk down to the ravine because it is a steep slope, and you could hurt yourself. So I'm not sure about that. In terms of the setbacks, it's because she's across the street, I don't think it has an adverse effect on her. More to do with 87 and at 83 Alamosa, and then in regards to the homeowner at 82 Alamosa, again. The height at 78, what they asked for was 10.10 meters. The allowable is 10 meters. They got approved for 10.10. We just want to get approval for 11.5, which is the allowable, even though the design is showing at 9.5.
Okay, do we have any questions of the applicant?
I have a question for the applicant. I just wanted to get a little bit of response to the staff report that was issued from community planning.
Correct. That's what I was going to do.
They can perhaps speak to that, and if I can direct you towards the recommendation specifically for 4 of the noted variances in the staff report.
Which there are 4 recommendations, I believe.
Yeah, so when I spoke with Julie, I went through the exact same presentation just so that she has a more insight on it, because again, what we just look at is just a list of variances. But when there's pictographs, it just makes it a little more easier to understand. So in regards to one, I was talking about permeable driveways, and she's like, yeah, with permeable driveways, I think there was a law passed in 2017 that regarded permeable driveways as part of soft landscaping. So I said, you know what, if I could do that, then I would ask committee to alter it, but obviously I can't alter it right now. That's fine. Number two, the building height, I showed her the exact same map, but I was like, look, I can even show you the interactive map live in front of you, and it does say 11.5. Because of the exception of RD70, we're kind of handcuffed to, 50% flat roof. And at that time, I didn't really get that strategy of, if I were to change the slope of the roof, then it would actually reduce the flat roof to below 50%, which in turn would actually eliminate the variance altogether, because I am allowed 11.5. As for number three is in relation to the height of the house, right? The soffit height wraps around from the front to the back, so that's what you're measuring from established grade to the underside of the soffit. So that's relative. And then number four, that's where it's a little more contentious, and all we're asking for is 1.54 meters, which is in relation to the hearing that was passed for 78 Alamosa across the street, because they got 1.54, and we're open to 1.54 as well.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Ellison? Anybody else got a? I'm going to make a comment here. When I look and I see a 72-foot lot with 72-foot frontage, and I see 8 variances required, and disagreeing with both the counselor and, more importantly, with the staff report, to me this says there's too much house on too little land.
Sorry.
Please.
Please. I'm assuming we're in committee.
Yes.
We can discuss.
Yes, we should discuss.
I would agree with that. I think that while it was nice to hear that the applicant was perhaps amenable to some things, we have to deal with the application that is before us. And I don't feel comfortable being put in the position of having a whole list of variances before me saying, well, we can do a little bit with this one, we can do a little bit with this one. I mean, these sort of things I may have felt more comfortable with. Staff issued this report back on the 31st. The applicant had sufficient time to address these changes and bring them forth at the beginning of the hearing. Specifically, I have a concern with respect to the circular driveway. There may be precedent on the street, but it's not meeting the requirement of the soft landscaping. And if you look at the street and you apply the same variances, the lots are very similar. If you start applying all of these variances to the neighborhood, you're going to see quite a change. I don't feel like the variances, specifically number 2 is considered minor. It's a big reduction in the landscaping. And frankly, the other variance I have concern with is the height. I mean, there's almost 14 feet between the ceiling of the second floor and the roof. I just don't see why that is necessary, and I don't see, precedent. If I look at the street itself and I look at the other houses on the street, I mean, this is a neighborhood that is frankly, I think, going to be ripe for development given the lot sizes, and I think we just have to be mindful of the variances that we're approving. There is a lot of latitude here with the bylaw to, build or come closer to building within. But like you said, Mr. Chair, the list of variances is just too long, and there's some specific variances in there where the variances are just too much, I think. To be considered minor. So on that, I would like to bring a motion to refuse the application.
Okay, so I would second that motion.
Do we need to give reasons?
No,
I think
Okay.
Mr. Allison has prepared, given reasons, and I've given reasons. We asked if they wanted to make any changes. They chose not to. That's their decision. It's their property, their application. So we have a motion on the floor that has been duly moved and duly seconded. So I'm ready to vote on it. All those in favor of the motion to refuse the application? Okay, so the application is unanimously refused. Yeah, I was going to ask that. It's good suggestion. So, because we're around halfway through the morning session. The next item that we'll be dealing with is item 6, which is 249 Elm Road. So how long do we take? What do you think, guys? 5 minutes? 5, 10? Which? 10? Okay, so 10 minutes. So that would bring us back at 11:45. He can appeal. He can appeal. Okay, we can't. You talk to staff about what the process is.
Chat with him. Their staff are over here. They can answer your questions.
Okay.
Just be mindful, guys. I just don't want to end up on that.
This one here. So we're ready to go. Item number 6 is 249 Elm Road, and the applicant is Ehsan Tayefi, and it's supposed to be in person, and there's 2 neighbors who also want to talk to it as well. So we'll listen. Is the applicant is here?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and member
So we
of
need to get your
committee.
name and address for the
Sure.
record, please.
My name is Ehsan Taifi. I'm the agent for the applicant. My address is 244 Lamson Avenue, Toronto. Okay, so do you want me to present it, or because we have the staff report, we have 19 supporting letter from
Yes,
the
we got the staff report.
Yeah,
which was
adjacent
the late
properties.
staff report. So we have that. And creating a new dwelling. Let me just pull up a staff report here. Oh, we got it on the screen? Okay, it's probably just easy for us to pick it up here. And there's some letters of support, a letter of objection. Let's see the staff report here. Number 6. Okay, so it was a late staff report, so we've got it here. Looking at some variances. Have you seen the staff report, sir?
Yes, I
Okay.
received that yesterday, and we did the modified changes to that.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yes.
Timer?
If you go down and I can see the application variances, please. Okay. Requested variances was chapter number 1010.410 bylaw. The permitted maximum height of all side exterior main walls facing a side light line is 8.5 meters. We dealt with the staff and we changed the side walls to 9.41.
So you're changing, can you go by variance number. What variance are you changing?
Number 1, we changed that the side wall to 941.
Okay, which is what the staff recommendation was?
The same thing.
Yeah. Any other changes?
Sorry.
Any other changes?
And but the front wall would remain the same. That's what we discussed with the staff, and we agreed on that. So the front wall, main wall will remain at 11 meter high. But the side are
What I
reduced.
need from you is what variances you're changing, not the ones you're leaving the same. So we know what's in front of us.
Yes.
So you're changing number 1
Yeah.
to a 9.41. What else are you changing?
And the variance number 2, we have 1.25 times. We are changing that to 1.216.
Okay, same as the staff report, okay?
Yeah.
Any other things you're changing?
And the number 3, we are changing that to 0.45 meters, except the 1.6 meters of the wall. If you may go to the drawings, I can explain that more.
So you're not eliminating it the way the staff had suggested.
Exactly, that's the same thing that we have discussed with the staff. But staff, technically, it was our application to have the whole side yard as a 0.3, and then we discussed with the staff, and we changed that just for the whole hall except for 1.6 meter of the wall. If you go to the drawings, I can explain that better.
Okay.
Can you go down, please, to the drawings?
So you want to leave it at 0.45, but for the first how many meters?
1.6 meters of the go. Okay, just go back. Go one more. Next drawings, please. Next, go down. Okay. Can you zoom it? Okay, as you can see behind the stairs, there is some projection to the side wall. A little bit come down. Stairs in the. Okay. Can you zoom it? As you can see, our application was to have the whole area whole area like 6 inches tinier, closer. But then we discussed with the staff, and we changed the whole area to side yard setback to 0.45, except this part that is 1.6 meters, just behind the stairs, and the rest is 0.45 as per staff.
So it's for the first 1.6 meters?
It's not the first. It's like the middle of the in the middle of the building.
Okay, so that's as per the plan?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about variance 4?
Variance 4 is totally eliminated. It was the height of 11 meters, 11 and 89. We reduced it to 11 meters.
Okay, and do you have any other changes?
No, but I believe that the staff missed one variances, which is the front wall height, because according to the bylaw, it has to be a bylaw. It says that 70% of that should be at 8.5. So we wanted to have that at 11 meter, but the staff seems that missed that one.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if there is a missed variance, the applicant should be asking for a deferral. You cannot consider a brand new variance that was not on the public notice. So my suggestion is the applicant request a deferral at this point so that he can get a new public notice that recognizes the missing zoning variance.
Like, we can't redesign kind of on the fly here, because often one variance impacts another one.
And in this case, we're making a variance in a worse
Right.
condition, so they have to.
It has to be, public notice has to go out.
Process again.
Okay, so can we request a default then?
Well, we can make a motion to defer.
I'm assuming that's what you like.
Yeah, for sure, because we wanted to keep the wall height the same as we want it to be, not the.
Mr. Chair, I would feel comfortable making a motion for deferral based on the information before us.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, also based on the fact that we maybe have a different set of variances coming back.
Mr. Chair, there is a neighbor too as well.
Right, and we'll
Or
let
is
them
he-
speak to the.
or is he the
we'll let
owner?
them speak
Actually,
to
is he the owner?
Yeah, that's the owner.
Oh, there is somebody on the line, so we should unmute this person as well before you make your final motion to defer, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this point, since the applicant is requesting a deferral, we'll let the neighbors comment on the request for the deferral, not on the variances that are in front of us.
Aye.
So the neighbor here is Benjamin Semi.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the neighbor is Marilyn Boston, and she is unmuted right now, if she can talk.
Okay.
Hi, it's Jim Wilson, Marilyn's husband. I'm at 309 St. Germain, which is not an immediate neighbor. It's down the street. And thank you for the quick time. I appreciate the changes that the proponent is making there. Two quick questions here. Starts at saying it's a 3-story detached. Maybe it's just words, but given that there's a garage down below, it's really a
Okay,
4-story.
all you can speak to at this point is a request for a deferral. If you're.
Okay, no, that's fine. I
Anything
agree.
changes you would like to make,
Great.
obviously you should meet with the applicant, because he's going to have
Okay,
to come back
thank you.
with some changes.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So we can't litigate it now with that on the floor about that he's requesting a deferral. So are you in
Fair enough.
favor or against the deferral?
In favor.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else going to speak to it? I thought there was another name there, but. No one else?
No one else.
Okay. So then we can have a motion with reasons.
Mr. Chair, I will motion to defer the application for the missing variance
So do I have a seconder for that motion?
I'd like to second, but I would like to defer to, could we do should it go back to the January Committee of Adjustment meeting?
Well, he's going to come back. He's deferring, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you don't need to give a date? So I'd like to second as is.
Okay, sorry, who seconded it? Any? Okay. All those in favor? Okay, so the application is deferred. And staff, do we still referring sine die or? No? Okay.
Mr. Chair, sorry to bother. I'm just wondering that because it shouldn't be the very complicated process, I believe, for putting that.
Mr. Chair, the applicant can speak to staff about when they can come back.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we then move on to 47 Panahill, item number 7.
Hello.
So I have listed here the agent, Bach Din, and Joe Stone, who wanted to speak to it. And there is a late staff report for this one as well.
Good morning. My name is Bak Ding. My address is 5223 Fairford Crest. I am the agent for the owner at 47 Panahill Road.
Okay. Are you making any changes to the application?
So we improve the variant number 6. So we work with the city staff and improve the soft landscaping area. So the new variant number 6 is gonna be 67%. It's not 58%.
Okay, so that's what in line with the staff request.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Joe Stone. I'm at 45 Panahill Road, and that's the home that's immediately adjacent to 47 Panahill. It's interesting that the applicant made a change to number 6 because that was what I was going to be speaking to today. Just to reiterate that the corner lot, just to read it, it is any detached house, semi-detached house, duplex, triplex, fourplex, or townhouse must have a minimum of 75% and of the required side yard landscaping must be soft landscaping, and the proposed was at 58%, but the applicant was increasing that to.
Could you talk into the microphone a little more?
Sorry. The applicant was increasing that to a higher level. Mr. Chairman, you understand, what is in your mind, what is the reason for that zoning bylaw?
Well, I think the procedure is he will have a chance to rebut and answer the question of why he's making the change. It's not for us to say why he's making the change.
No, but the understanding of what that zoning bylaw is for.
To increase soft landscaping with water runoff and so on.
Exactly, exactly. So my concern is that I've had a situation in my backyard where on 46 Kennard, which is adjacent to my backyard, they put in a swimming pool and paved over much of their backyard, and the runoff from that paving has flooded my backyard whenever there's a meaningful rain. So my concern is at 47 Panahill, I'm going to have the same situation as I'm having right now with my backyard with a lack of soft landscaping. That's my primary concern. Secondarily, I'd also like to add that 100% of the homes east of Panahill are single detached homes, and this is introducing multiple residences, which is inconsistent with the neighborhood.
Again, we'll let the applicant rebut that or comment on it.
Through you, Mr. Chair, can I get the neighbor to restate his name and address just so we have it for city record?
Sure. It's my name is Joe Stone, Stone, and I'm at 45 Panahill Road. That's the house immediately east of the applicant.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions of Mr. Stone?
Could I ask a question about drainage?
Yeah.
Is this, I mean, I understand that, like, is this sanitary, sorry, not sanitary, does this have storm sewers, these properties?
There are storm sewers on the obviously on the road, but in the backyard, there's no storm sewers.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
The applicant, by the way, would have to submit a drainage plan as part of the process of getting a building permit.
Building permit, yeah.
And the other thing, just for your information, if water is coming from another property under Metro Licensing and Standards, who you can go to, there is a requirement that you maintain water on your own property and not on another property, whether that's from an eavesdrop or whatever it happens to be. Okay. So if we don't have any other questions, Mr. Stone, we'll ask the applicant if he wants to rebut anything.
So for the we propose the side yard landscape. Actually, it's just the interlocking part and only the water runoff from the driveway, and it is pretty quite small area of the driveway. Like because of the corner lot, like, I mean, you can see on the side plan, on the revised side plan, we have improved the landscape area, which is improve the water runoff, like water absorption from the rain. Yeah, so this is the revised site plan. And you can see from the grading point, is most the slope is go from the house to the streets. It's not go to the neighbor or the backyard of the neighbor.
Are you if I look at variance number 3, are you, what is it currently today? You're asking for 35, 30 is allowed. What is it today?
So today, I don't have the number right in front of me, but give me a second. Today, right now, it's at 27%.
Because that has to do with runoff as well, obviously.
Yeah, right now it's at 27%, and we're asking for 35%.
And I'm asking what it is today.
27%.
27?
Yeah.
So that variance is 30 is allowed, so you're under the allowable now, but you're increasing it up to 35.
Yes, that's right.
If you're putting why is it going up by that amount?
Because of the proposal is to have basically a duplex. That's
okay. For the second suite.
Yeah. So the second suite. All the addition gonna be the second suite. That's is so it create more housing for the to solve the problem right now, right?
Okay, that's fine. That explains it. Okay, so do we have any other questions of Mr. Stone? Otherwise, we'll.
I have a quick question. From the drawing you're showing on the screen right now, it looks to me like the southeast corner is actually going to drain onto onto the neighbor's property. How will that be dealt with?
That's southeast corner, that's the existing grading. We not modify, I don't think we modify anything of that.
I guess that's my question. When you're proposing a new addition to the site, would you have to deal with existing grading problems?
So that's, we can deal with the grading plan once we submit for the building permit.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any other questions? So you are changing variance 6, is that correct?
And yes, that's correct.
To the 67%?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, just want to make sure we all in the same playbook here. Okay, do we have any other questions? If not, then we're probably ready for a motion. Can I get a motion? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve this application tied to the staff recommendation.
Subject to the staff.
Yeah, staff recommendation and modified variance that the applicant made.
Okay. Do I have a?
I will second that, and I'll also give the reason specific. I'm happy to see that the applicant made some changes to maintain or improve the soft landscaping condition on the side. And for that reason, I will second the motion.
Okay, so we have a seconder, a duly moved and seconded motion. All those in favor? Okay, so your application is approved, subject to the change you made to the side landscaping as outlined in the staff report.
Thank you.
Okay, so that would take us then to number 8. Item 8, which is 172 McKee. And I show here we have the agent and owner both speaking to it, and they're both on video. So we'll deal with the agent first, I guess. Thank you. So the agent here is listed as Li Shi, or Lai Shi. Sorry, I may not have pronounced that right. It says it's on video. Do we have that? Are they unmuted?
Lei Shi, please talk if you're online.
If not, we can hear from Yan Li, who's also supposed to be online and is the owner.
Good afternoon, Chairman, and all the committees. I'm sorry, I don't know why my agent is not showing up. I think you have all the documents in front of you, because this is the first time for me to
Do
join
you want
such
us to
things.
hold this back until I give them some time to go? We'll move on to another item and come back to this? Or are you prepared to present yourself?
I think I can try to present it myself. I'll try. Thank
Okay.
you.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so basically for us is everything. I think he did everything. The agent did everything for drawing. Is what we have done is just is a very simple sign room built on the existing backyard, existing deck. So I not too much. I'm not know much about the details regarding for the drawing, but whatever shows up there should be all listed there. The variance is about the sunroom, the percentage for the coverage.
Right, and
I
that's for the,
think.
that's for
And
the
then-
extra length.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we bought the house is what the house as what existed as the original. We did nothing change beside to build a little sunroom on top of the deck. That's it. I think that's what I can say for now. Sorry if I made any confusions. Apologize for that.
Do we have any questions? The staff report has changed on this. The late staff report doesn't have a disregard to the previous staff report, so.
Okay. Can we just pull that most recent staff report up on the screen?
Yeah, because I get along with my neighbors very well. I'm not sure.
So there's that late staff report as well. Right. And the explanation is here as well.
Yeah. I think I will also submit the explanation letter. So we got that during the COVID period. So should I go get my agent? Should I call him or it should be fine for now?
I think we're okay. I think you've done a good job presenting it.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we are ready for a motion on it. It's very straightforward. It's just adding the sunroom to the back part of the deck.
Can we just confirm with staff that there are no other staff reports or conditions, recommendations for conditions from staff? I believe with the withdrawal, we don't have anything on this file.
It should be without condition.
Yeah, I mean, my only consideration, after looking at this application was the comments made at the staff report, but given that they've withdrawn that report, I don't have any concerns with the application. I believe the requested variance is to be considered minor, and for that reason, I will make a motion to approve the application.
Do I have a seconder for that motion?
I second it.
Just always a tie with you guys. And Ms. Martin is closer, so I see your hand going up first.
Okay.
Speed of light. Okay, good. So it's been duly moved and seconded. All those in favor? So your application is approved without condition.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
And so we move to number 9, which is 134 Allmore. And I guess it looks like the architect is going to speak, Drew Laszlo. And it says,
Yes, good
coming
afternoon.
in on audio.
Good afternoon. I'm Drew Laszlo, agent for the owner. My address is 193 Rowe Avenue. If I may just start by asking staff to put up a photo of the front of the house. Should be on file. It may be under, yeah, there we go. Perfect. This photo kind of says it all. What we're doing, we're building 2 stories on top of the existing garage. So we need setbacks for the existing front yard setback, the existing side yard setback, and the fact that we're retaining a portion of that deck area above the garage, that we need a variance for as well. So it's kind of bottom line, here's all 4 variances are all existing conditions as a result of building on top of something that is already there. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions, Mr. Laszlo? I don't believe anyone is scheduled to speak against it. No questions? I think it's fairly straightforward and well explained. So, We have a motion?
Do you want me to put forth a motion then?
Yeah.
I'll put forth a motion to approve the application with, as per the, to approve the application, I guess, with no conditions.
Right, there are no conditions. Okay? So you're approved, Mr. Laszlo, if we just do the vote here now? All those in favor? So it is unanimous.
Do we need a second? We need a second.
Oh, did we not get, okay, sorry about that.
You want to go for it?
I'll second.
Okay. Now it's been duly seconded, I apologize. When they're straightforward, sometimes you run a little faster or get the horse ahead of the cart or behind the cart. Okay, so all those in favor? Okay, so your application is unanimously approved, Mr. Laszlo.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we move to 207 Connaught. Item number 10.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
And let's see what we got on here. Okay, it looks like there is just the applicant to speak. So I'll get you, Mr. Millen Price, to identify yourself and your address.
Hi again, Mr. Chair, fellow committee members. My name is Addison Milne Price. I'm a land use planner at Design Plan Services located at 900 the East Mall, Suite 300, here on behalf of the owner.
Okay, so we just pull this one up. My scrolling finger takes longer than usual. Okay, so here we are, 207 Connaught, item 10. Did you want to make a presentation or just?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I am prepared to make a presentation, but if the committee members find that this application is straightforward, I'm also happy just to answer any questions that they may have.
Okay, so the three-story is because of the basement considered as the first story?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And then we got the same situation with the platform, right? It's
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Variances number 2 and number 4 are a direct result of the basement being considered the first story.
And you're not asking for very much in terms of the sidewall height? It's okay.
We have no other speakers on this?
No?
Okay.
Not that I saw on here. Okay, that's, once we recognize it's the basement being the issue, that kind of answers a lot of the questions. So, do we have any conditions on this? Let me just look here.
There's a staff report.
And is that the late staff report or not? No, it's in the agenda. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, please. So here's the staff report here. And the staff is asking that a condition be attached to the south elevation drawing, which is attached to their report. I'm assuming you've seen that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have no issue with that condition.
Okay. So are we ready for a motion then? I think.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve with the condition noted in the staff report dated October 31st, 2023 from Community Planning and the attached, which includes the attachment of the south elevation drawing.
Okay. So do I have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor? So it's unanimously passed, subject to the condition in the staff report, by attaching it to the south elevation drawing submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Have an excellent afternoon.
We're still doing the morning. Okay, so that takes us to item 11. I'm sorry, item 10, I believe.
11. Are we on 11?
We haven't.
We're on 11.
No, it's on 11, right?
That's correct.
Which is 383 Hounslow. I have the late staff report here. They want to put it up. There are two variances. One they're looking at asking to be removed, and one variance to modify. So let me just see who's scheduled to speak on this.
Oh.
So let me just find this here. 383 Hounslow. Okay, here we are. So let's see who's speaking to this. 383 Hounslow, and the agent, Nushin Mazafari, and it says by audio.
Hi everyone, my name is Nushin Mazafari from Python Studio, representing my client, owner of 383 Hounslow.
Okay.
Before I do the presentation, there are some improvements on the application. Variance number 6 is reduced to 23 square meter instead of 26.58. It's reduced to 23 square meter. And variance number 8 is removed.
So those are the two things that the staff report requested?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We've done these improvements in back and forth with the planning, and also I know that the councillor had the same concern about the soft landscaping area, which is variance number 8, and is removed.
Okay. Do we have any?
And
Go ahead.
If I want to give you a brief presentation, variance number 1 and 7 are about the west side setback for the building and the canopy. Variance number 2, I should mention that the west side setback is 4 feet at front, but it's almost 8 feet at the rear portion. So it's even more than required at the rear. Variance number 2 is east side setback. We are asking for 5 feet instead of 6. Variance number 3 and 10 are for the height of first floor and the porch consequently. Number 4 is the wall height, which is 1 foot higher than allowed. Number 5 is basically a technical variance due to the changes in definition of the first floor and basement. What we are proposing is a 2-story building on top of garage, but based on this new change in the definition, the basement is considered as first floor. So this is a technical issue, and consequently the rear deck, which is similar to all other rear decks and has 8-foot setback from the side lot line, is considered as a balcony, and its area is a variance which is reduced to 23 square meter, and variance number 9 is for the lot coverage. We are asking for 32% instead of 30. I know that there is a forestry condition and we are okay with that, and the planning is supporting the application, and I'm not sure if there is any opposition from the neighborhood or not. I will be happy to answer any questions if there is any.
So you've changed the soft landscaping variance, correct?
We have removed that.
Right. Which I guess is what the counselor had requested.
Yes, exactly.
And
Okay,
also,
so there's no one else to speak to it. Do you have any questions? I think that was well presented.
I didn't quite catch all the changes on the variances, but I
Well,
specific numbers, but I got
the two changes are to modify variance number 6 to 23 meters and to remove variance number 8. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the summary of the changes, which is what was in the staff report, by the way.
thank you.
Okay, so we're probably ready for a motion then.
can you make a motion?
You ready?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve this application tied to the staff recommendation. That is variance number 8 to be removed and variance number 9 to be revised.
Variance number 6. to be
Number 6,
revised.
sorry. Number 6 and number 8 to be removed.
No.
6 is a revision.
6
Eight-
to be
eight is
revised and 8 to be removed.
It was on the screen, it just left. Okay, there we are up on the screen now.
Yes, so to modify variance number 6 and remove variance number 8. So I'd like to make the motion tied to this.
There's forestry on this, I believe. It's a forestry memo, we should make it subject.
Yeah, forestry has advised to defer for review, or I'm not sure if they, but they definitely want to review. Not defer? Okay.
No, there's conditions.
Conditions,
Standard.
okay. Oh, the standard, okay.
So we just need to include that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, so I want to revise my motion to approve this application with modified variance number 6, remove variance number 8, and also urban forestry condition.
So do I have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor? So it's unanimously passed, subject to the 2 changes recommended in the staff report.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And I guess that now brings us to item 12, which is 49 Craigmore, sorry. And the agent is by audio. Ms. Evangelista, you see here on?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to have to recuse myself on this one because I know the agent. So I will pass the virtual gavel to Mr. Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose of this application is to construct a new dwelling. The applicant is seeking 6 variances here. Do we have the applicant available?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owners at 49 Craigmore.
Good afternoon. Would you like to give a brief presentation for us?
Yes, I can do that, Mr. Chair. So the application that you have in front of you is for an irregular shaped lot. We are proposing a new 2-story single-family dwelling. And as you can see, the lot size, the lot shape is quite irregular. So the variances that we have, I'll start with the side yard setbacks, because you'll notice even on my presentation, I submitted a presentation package just outlining where those setbacks are created. And if you go to page, I will tell you in 1 second, page 3, I believe. You'll see that the setbacks are just for the pinch points. Variance 6, you'll notice just the pinch point. The side yards then do open up to 1.8 meters and 2.37 meters at the front. And where variance 5 is, you'll see that we just have that that small pinch point right there at the corner where the garage is. And then the variance, it does open up to 2.6 meters. So the variances are just for those 2 areas. We are asking for coverage of 32%. In this area, it is 30%. But the very characteristic to this neighborhood and in this area is 32. And what brings us over to the 32% is the deck, the walkout off of the kitchen at the rear of the property. However, you'll notice that many homes in this area, the footprint of this neighborhood, this is 32% is very characteristic to the area and the neighborhood in its entirety. Now we are also asking for a height of 10.2 meters. If we can go to page 3 of my submission, you'll see that the height, so this particular house design is a transitional style design. It has much articulation at the front and the sides and at the rear. So the height, we are asking for an additional 0.20 because it takes it to the peak of that roof. However, but just underneath that roof line where you see that overlap there, just below that portion of the roof is 10 meters. So that 0.20 is just for the width of that slope, that roof line. The side yard setbacks, my apologies, the main wall heights that we are asking for is for the flat portion of the home. And as I mentioned, this is, due to the different setbacks and articulation for the home, the main wall height is strictly related to the flat portion of the home on the side, on the west side. But you'll see that we have different various heights. We have the 8.54. On the east side, we have 7.70. So there is, and it's just to, so that it does present, optically from the street, it does give you those different variations, articulations, heights, just making it a much very, it would be very indiscernible to the eye from the street. And we are asking for the proposed front balcony of 2.14, which you see it's above the garage. Again, it is just to allow for some articulation, some features at the front of the house. So what I propose here is that what we are proposing is that the house that we are intending to build does comply with DOP, is in fact complements and characteristics of the neighborhood. And I'm open to any questions.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
apparently I'm tongue-tied today.
Thank you. And thank you for keeping that on time. Can I just ask staff if there's any, I don't see in our package that there's any supplemental reports from staff. I just confirm that nothing else has come in? No? Okay. And just to confirm, we don't have any other speakers to this item. Nope.
And I would like to add, Mr. Chair, that the owners did speak to the neighbors. They are in support, and as you see, that there is no opposition today. Planning is okay. We have no forestry conditions.
Okay. Thank you. Move this to committee. Any questions?
No.
We ready? Anyone ready to make a motion on this one?
I can make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve this application for the minor variances.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Do we have a second?
I could second.
Okay, we have a second. Everybody, all in favor? Decision is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, all set.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. This brings us to the last item of the morning, which is 3264, 3266 Yonge Street. And I have down here that the agent is going to speak to this. It's Danielle Hall. Sorry? Yes, there is. Correct. Which I've got here.
It's not sure if it's good morning or good afternoon, but good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
But it is afternoon, so.
Yes. Are you ready for me to proceed?
We are.
Yes, my name is Daniel Hall. I am the principal architect at Collaborative Architecture Inc. of 943 Queen Street East in Toronto, and I'm here on behalf of the owners of the property of 3264 and 3266 Yonge Street. The building, just to give you some context, is a very typical two-story building on that stretch of Yonge Street with commercial on the ground floor and an apartment upstairs. I would like to refer in this presentation to the survey that's on page 2 of the plans, if the clerk or someone could help with that. And also there was a set of 3 explanatory photos that were submitted late on November the 6th that you might also have access to that can help explain. The building is composed of 2 portions, a 2-story portion with a basement, the original building that fronts Yonge Street and houses a retail use on the ground floor and an apartment above, and an extensive addition, 1 story with a basement out the rear that goes almost to the lane. Dates back probably 60 to 80 years based on its construction, but it's been there a long time, had some use as a furrier's vault at one point. So the owners purchased this property last year with the idea of converting what was a very rudimentary apartment in the rear of the building into a basement and main floor office space for their consulting business. They've been issued building permits that were as of right and approved to undertake this renovation based on not altering the exterior of the building. And then we've come to you today to ask for 2 minor variances to allow us to deal with a couple of safety and convenience issues on the building. The area in question, if you zoom in on the middle of the survey, right in the middle of the building, you'll see there's a notch out of the south wall right there. It says 2nd-story overhang, where the 1-story stucco rear addition meets the 2-story building. There's a 6-foot by 6-foot indent in the building. And then you can see the outline of the CIBC Bank building to the south. If I could refer to the photographs, please. They were submitted, I think, as supporting material on November the 6th is how they show up on the application. in a series of 3 photos exactly. So the first photo taken, these were the conditions when the owners bought the building, looking from the laneway east down the side between the building. And you can see it's a very narrow space. On the survey, it's 0.85 meters wide. If you could go to the second photo, please, it takes us further in. So there's the bank building on the right, the back of the bank building, a existing platform above, and you can see this narrow space heading towards a stair. We could go 1 photo further in. We take you further into this space, please. And there was an existing wood stair that has since been removed. This presumably served as some kind of exit for the apartment, although it does not meet code. It certainly wouldn't have been permitted this way. It ends up at a dead end in this corner, and it encroaches 8 inches onto the neighbor's property. So it's been removed at the request of the owners. So the second variance is to put a new metal fire escape that will serve in lieu of that stair. And as you can see from the survey,
Excuse me, can I ask you to take this discussion outside the chamber? It's conflicting with the audio. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll speak to the second variance first. It's the most straightforward one. It is to allow us to install a code-compliant steel fire escape stair to provide the second fire exit for the apartment upstairs that this stair might have provided, although as I said, it doesn't meet code. You can see there's no headroom to exit, so it didn't actually provide it. But we need to provide a second fire exit for upstairs. There is 0.85 meters, as you'll see from the survey. If we could go back to that, please, between the building and the lot line along this side. A fire escape stair by code must be a minimum of 600 millimeters wide. As a result, our fire escape stair, it ends up at about 0.24 meters, 240 millimeters from the lot line. The zoning bylaw requires a minimum of 300 millimeters, so we're encroaching 60 millimeters into what would be permitted. So that's the substance of the second variance. The first variance is a request to fill in this funny little notch for 2 reasons. Clearly, it makes for a better floor plan and better use of the space, and we'd rather do that. But more importantly, it removes a very dangerous personal safety hazard of having this hidden away space that's hidden behind 2 buildings and the bank building and completely out of sight, where we are going to be having the exit from the apartment and the exit for the staff from the offices going down that side alley. So the zoning bylaw requires a 5.5 meter setback from the side lot line in this case, which, as you can see, would basically take the entire property out of consideration. We are asking to extend the existing condition of a 0.85 meter setback across that small enclosure. Truly minor, not visible from the street, has no impact on the bank. The bank manager, in fact, has said they have no issue, although bank bureaucracy being what it is, he can't sign a letter for us, but he has been spoken to. Planning issued a report that I found slightly confusing, so I spoke with Paul Procopio afterwards, because he says they have no objection, but then he asked to tie it to as-built conditions. And he sent me an email, which, with your permission, I will just read from. He said, community planning staff recommended that the approval of variance 1 only apply to the as-built condition. This prevents the setback variance to carry forward if the building was torn down and contemplated for a new development. Staff did not raise any concerns in the report. So as I understood, what he's saying is they don't have any objection to this request. They don't want this to be seen to allow some future building to be built at 0.85 meters from the lot line. So if the committee felt that these variances were worthy of approval, we would certainly have no objection to some kind of condition that ties them to these plans to make sure that the planning staff's concerns are addressed. I think that's really all I have to offer.
So obviously, we could make it subject, if we chose to approve, we could make it subject to the staff conditions?
Absolutely. The only concern is the wording in the staff condition is as-built condition, and quite clearly, if we were only talking about an as-built condition, we wouldn't be here in front of you asking for variance to build a new section of wall to fill that in. That's where I found it was confusing. And I think what the planner clarified in the email, they meant to the that existing condition being 0.85 on the existing building. They did not want it to be taken to mean that a future building could benefit from that variance as well.
Let me just ask one other question. You mentioned about the variance for the fire exit. Is that going to impact you getting a building permit?
Not at all. In fact, whether we or not we get the fire exit, So we are required to provide 2 exits. The other way one can address that would be to replace all of the storefront glazing on Yonge Street with fire-rated glazing. That would satisfy the requirements for proximity to the exit. Very invasive and expensive procedure. And there was this existing stair condition that the tenant has enjoyed. We would like to maintain it, but in a proper code-compliant, fire-safe way. So we have to have 600 millimeters by code. We have 850, so 850 minus 600 is 250. We are staying as far away from the lot line as we can. And frankly, it said we're 50 to 60 millimeters closer to the lot than the bylaw would allow.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. However, I do actually, would we be able to ask staff for some assistance on rewording variance number 2? I do see the applicant's concerns with respect to the word as built. I think I understand what the planner meant by that, but I want to make sure that the condition doesn't create any issue for the applicant for the intent of what's what they're trying to accomplish here.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do understand. If you tie it to the site plan, as they suggest, I think that should take care of it. Although you can reword number 2 to say the existing and proposed.
I think that
Can I ask a question? Sorry. Could we, is it possible to make it so it's a condition that lapses? Would that be appropriate?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the variances run with the property.
Yeah, variance goes with the property, right?
They don't lapse, per se. Well, I shouldn't say that. There are times for temporary use variance, like a seasonal garden in a, but in this case, it wouldn't apply.
Sorry, through the chair, I've seen conditions previously where a condition, like if a building permit is not, they would add to the condition if a building permit's not obtained within a certain time period, it would lapse. If that was added, then there's no confusion on that?
I don't think that's required at this point.
The temporary use one, by the way, you sometimes see actually at Center Point, they put out a garden center in front of one of the buildings, and and it gets a time limit for it. Not relevant to this, but that's where you often see the temporary one. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
No? Okay, so I guess we're ready for motion. I think that was well explained by Mr. Hall.
Well, I will go forward since I brought up the rewording. I'll make a motion to approve with the condition, and I'm gonna note the specific condition because I think we're gonna reword the second. I'd like to reword the second recommendation as a condition. So the first is that the property will be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment and attached as attachment 1 in the report. And the second is that the approval of variance 1 applies to the as-built and proposed condition. And I'm gonna, proposed to the as-built and proposed alteration. How does that? I maybe I'll jump back to staff here because we did ask for some direction on the wording of that second. Right. Yeah.
If it gives you a measure of comfort, we can maybe confirm and bring up the site plan again to see where the proposed wall is
That would be
on the
helpful.
south side. If the applicant can confirm that the addition does not, or more specifically, in line with existing.
Yes, I wasn't able to hear the staff comment. They were off microphone, but I can confirm that what we're talking about is to simply extend the condition of the existing wall east about 2 meters to where it meets the back of the rest of the building.
So, sorry, just to confirm, what we're looking at is the survey, is that correct?
You're looking at the survey right now.
So we should be
where it
looking
says
at,
second
yeah.
story overhang.
Sorry, so if I could ask staff to put up the site plan, so we can actually see what
On
is
page
proposed.
7, you'll see a floor plan, but you
We'll
can see the
bring
site
it up.
plan since that's what, the site plan is what the staff planning referred to, but the floor plan on page 7 is probably a little more clear. My apologies, we did not bubble the area in question to make it easier for you to tell what we're talking about here. You can see on that drawing on the second floor, I believe the first floor drawing may be more useful to you on page 7. The right-hand side where it shows 1.177 meters and a shower somewhat sticking into the wall. Again, apologies on the quality of the drawing here. That area where the bathroom is, that's the area in concern. Through you, Mr. Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes, please do.
I wonder if the approval was tied to the drawings as submitted, or largely to the drawings as submitted, if that would satisfy staff concerned about some future owner trying to reference that approval.
That would satisfy me.
But you said largely to the drawings. I'm a little nervous about the word largely in there. It leaves it open to interpretation.
Well, I'd like permission to move that bathroom out of the wall, that shower. I'd like to be able to make minor edits to the drawing and not have that be taken as meaning it. But what you could just say to the drawings, I don't think the building department staff will be that, difficult about it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Sorry, through the chair. So that would mean we would. My understanding is that condition 2 would be removed in its entirety because that would condition 1 already addresses that point.
Correct. But we should hear that from the applicant.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we would have no objection to it just being condition 1. I agree. I thought that was sufficient, which is why I contacted the planner who wrote the report, because I was puzzled by the almost confusion that number 2 introduced. Number 1, I feel adequately covers everything and says this is not going to be used by someone in future to build a new building here.
Sorry, through the chair, I'm comfortable with that. Could we, is it appropriate to make a motion at this point?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay, so I would like.
Mr. Chair, you were in the middle of a motion. Mr. Allison was in the middle of a motion.
Thank you. So if we can just pull up the staff report again, I apologize. So I'd like to make a motion to approve, subject to including the condition, the recommendation number 1 noted in the staff report, that the property will be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to C of A and attached as attachment 1 in the report.
Do I have a seconder for that motion?
I second that.
Seconded. All those in favor? Okay, so your application is unanimously approved, subject to it being tied to point 1 in the staff report.
Thank you very much, and I admire how close to being on time you are, so I wish you a very good lunch today. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll actually get more than 15 minutes. That's incredible. But that means we finish an hour later. But anyway, you can't have everything. Okay. So I don't think there's any further business for the morning session, and we cannot start the afternoon session because of their scheduled times, starting at 2 o'clock, and applicants and/or objectors may not be here, so we have to wait till 2 o'clock to do that. So we will take our lunch break and reconvene at 2 o'clock unless anybody has any objection to that.
We're on time.
We're on time. I'm just curious as to why we heavily loaded, back-end loaded the agenda.
Oh,
It's not a half.